Good morning. Happy Fed Day. Welcome to today's webinar. Let me remind you that the purpose of this webinar is education. This is not an alert service. I'm not here to make trade recommendations, but I will teach you technical and fundamental analysis, and I'll do so in real time, pip by pip, candle by candle, with the overriding goal of helping you put together trade plans throughout this beautiful New York trading session. If you're trading along with me using a demo account from Trader's Way, then regardless of whether your plans are successful or not, you will have an opportunity to learn. Trading and investing is risky and not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. So please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. So hello, good morning, comment allez-vous, how are you? Jumbo! Ni hao ma! Happy Fed Day. So I suspect that the market's going to be a little bit quiet in the morning here. Although at 8:30 we got news and news and news and more news. And then around 2 we got the Fed announcement, press conference, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it'll be a boring day, that's for sure. So we've been blessed. Wonderful. Hello, my name is Wayne McDonald. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you very much for being a client. Or if you're new to these sessions, would you please visit TradersWay.com and open up an account? Even a demo account will give you an opportunity to get to know our customer service, or world-class customer service. You can test out the execution speed. To do that, download MT4. While you're at it, all my chart templates are available down below the video here. Go ahead and download all my MT4 templates. Download the MT4 trading platform from Traders Way in your back office. Pop them in there, and now you have that. And of course, our spreads are very competitive, and you'll see that as well. So please visit TradersWay.com today. So today I'm going to cover dollar pairs, yen pairs, gold, and oil, and squeeze in any requests. And then I think just, I don't know, kind of wait for the 8:30 volatility and see what happens there. And remember, whatever happens at 8:30 is going to be affected by what might happen at this afternoon. So I think there could be like a pop and stop type thing. Okay. And also, we saw a lot of pairs, or even like gold. Remember how gold was right at the top of our monthly projection. So we also have to realize, start preparing for end of month. Good CPI figures out of Ozzy today. Right on, Chuck. Thank you for that. Seems like you'd want to own it in a scenario like that. Hope you do. So where should we start? Why don't we just start with euro dollar? Why not, huh? I forgot to start my drawing tool, so let me fire that sucker up. And once again, thank you for the loyalty and respect you show me every day in these webinars. I really appreciate that. I do. I mean, honestly, I appreciate that. So I like working with you. I've known many of you guys for years and years and years and years. So I think that's really cool. So anyways, thank you for being in my life. So we were kind of looking for something like that or like that to be a bull. Cool. Nothing's happened for a while on this. Yeah, like Adam, right? Adam, how long have I known you, Adam? Feels like 10 years. Maybe it was only 8 years. It's been a while, though. And it's really cool. Since 2005, it's even that long, huh? Really? Wow, that's crazy. Well, next time I'm in Qatar, I'll look you up, huh? All right. So now what? Well, we're kind of in the middle of the zone, and that's the problem, right? So this is a better sell area, and this was the better buy area. And in the middle, you can often consolidate. Now, if you think you're going there, then yeah, you can buy these dips. But this was sort of the safer dip, so to speak. And now this is a market that's not trending on the short time frame, but consolidating on the short time frame. About time for a beer. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Max? Max been rocking. I have something that's somewhere. Where is it? My Skype account or something. It says if the pips are a rockin', don't come a knockin'. Motion says, yeah, great. Thank you, Motion. That's cool. Great. All right. So, yeah, now what do we do? Well, obviously, today is all about the dollar. We talked about that on Monday when we went through the calendar. Monday was supposed to be pound. Tuesday was supposed to be pound. And then Wednesday and Friday's all about the dollar, right? So anyway, so now we're in here, and the point I just want to make is I prefer to be extreme levels, and this is sort of a 50-50 kind of area. Like, yeah, it might go up, it should go up, it probably will go up, but it certainly can come down as well. And it's treating this like a small top maybe, and there's uncertainty about what's going to happen today and later today. So, you know what I mean? Just like next month's pivot. All right, so yeah, it depends if what you want to do, right, Adam? So you kind of have this scenario, or you kind of have this scenario, and both are even likely. So. But yes, that should go in your analysis. Today we should look at the peso too, because it's the Wednesday before the Friday. If you know what I mean, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah, there might be something better to do with your time than euro dollar. How about CAD? That's trending nice. For this to happen, what would we like to see in regards to correlation? Banking, baby. And right on, Max. Sir, you are the best trader in the world. No, I am not, Motion, but I appreciate that. Oil up, yeah. Now, I might be the best looking trader in the world, or at least I used to be, but no, I'm not the best trader in the world, but I do care. I do care. I mean, you have to go all the way back when I started. I quit my job as a venture capitalist, which was, I say that not out of arrogance, because a lot of people go, oh, he was a venture capitalist. Well, that's what I did. And I worked hard for about 10 years to become a venture capitalist. So I was a venture capitalist. And I loved it. Okay? I loved it. So it was a very, very, very difficult choice for me to say, I'm going to throw all of that away. I mean, I just got promoted to vice president. I'm overseeing 300 people. The office was just fantastic, neat place to be in. My boss was an asshole, but bosses are assholes by definition, I think, right? So, right? Bosses and stepdads. I don't know. Anyways, so I had to make that choice, and I chose Forex over my career, and it was like the one time in my life I had health benefits, right? I had health insurance. Like, oh my gosh, I quit that. The one time in my life. So anyways, I made a hard choice. The company loved me. I was doing really good. And I said, right? So I left Forex. And in probably the first 6 months, the isolation and the loneliness took hold. And it was, it became a real threat to my trading. So here we are. What we do here is we are a community for each other. And the reason I started coaching in the beginning, because I had money. I mean, I wasn't the richest guy in the world, but I had enough money. So it was more like the way that I would surround myself with successful people is to share what I know. And from sharing, I can develop a community of like-minded, serious people. Because the output of my business planning retreat that I did with myself was that every other time I was successful in my life, and I've been successful several times before Forex. So, for example, you might know me from Forex, but I was in dozens of magazines and newspapers around the world before Forex. Right? I'm Canadian. The National Post, the big National Post, a newspaper for Canada, wrote an article about me. A featured article about Wayne McDonald in a national newspaper from my birth country. And this was all before I even heard of Forex, right? So I just didn't, this is, anyways, the whole point of this diatribe is that you're important to me. And I realized that many years ago that for me to be successful as a trader, I can't go it alone. I can't do it alone. I know how to trade, but as we know, once you get past technical analysis, and even back then I was very new to fundamental analysis, but there's something beyond all of that, right? There's something beyond just the moving averages and just the pivot points and just the oscillators. Like you can get all of that down, and then there's still something. There's like this human nature thing going on, and you help me address my greatest risk, and that's the beast of being an isolated trader. Things can very, very quickly fall apart, and you make me want to be a better trader, to steal the line from some stupid movie. Right? You keep me on, sharp and interested and focused and all that kind of stuff. And that's, so no, I'm not the best trader in the world, but I probably care about your success more than even your mother. And I say that because if you succeed, it helps me succeed. Because you'll be around like, Adam since 2005. And Adam, since 2005, that's not many years, but there's lots of people here and around that have been a part of my life for that long. So I think that's really cool. But so that's why I share. Motion, can you ask a question? Sure. Is that back to the church? Sure. Yes. Yes. Gasha wants to get straight to business. Sure. Cool. So all I'm saying with this one is oil did go up. And look at our trade plan, guys. Double top, or in case this way, triple top, right? And here's the role reversal for bears. All you had to do was be a bear. Raymond, yeah, 2 years. And is that from my visit to South Africa, Raymond? Hey, William. Oops. Okay, so for that to happen, we need oil to go up, and oil went up. Cool. Oh, just after, huh? That was USD CAD, yes. want to say about this? Not a lot, really, I suppose. So we have this support area. We'll just re-highlight it. And then we have that one. So it's not even that one. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot to say about this. It's sort of up range. Here's the breakout, pullback, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not even that good, really, the scenario. It was just back down to the bottom is all it really was. That's not even a decent high anymore. That's not much there. There's sort of the one pattern. Okay, swing traders know this. This is out of the swing trading course. In a scenario like that, price is supposed to retrace at least back to the central pivot. And then over the years that I've noticed this pattern, I haven't been able to discern a consistent reaction to the central. So what I'm trying to say is some of the time it hits the central and then heads back down. And some of the time it hits the central and then keeps going back up. So I don't know what it's going to do there. But when you're down in here and seeing in this situation, and again, this is just straight out of the swing trading course. So swing traders know this one. You just head back here. And then judgment call. Do your job, right? Okay. So other than that, like, I think I'm just going to clear this chart out. It doesn't seem to be interesting anymore. So we'll start fresh. And I think tomorrow's, well, today and then Friday is going to be very interesting for oil, right? So, and then lastly, let's do this on the 4 hour. Okay. We always have to go back. So do you remember my buy at 44? Where's 44? 44. Remember this one? I said 44. Not like I did a 20-minute speech around 44. Why you should buy at 44 or that kind of stuff. Why bulls would buy at 44. Why do I use moving averages? You'll have to read my book for the detailed answer to that. But I just found it helpful to first of all measure the market. So it helped me break down my analysis. So I always started by what is the market doing? And then once I answered that, and by definition, the 2155 to me was the market. Okay, my definition. When I first started trading 15 years ago or whatever it was, I used 2060. And at the time, I was teaching myself Fibonacci, and I was trying all kinds of things with Fibonacci. I had adjusted like my fibs with Fibonacci. I adjusted my RSI because back then I used RSI, and I used RSI on top of RSI on top of RSI. And then I changed them to fib settings. I changed my MACD to fib settings and all that kind of stuff. And one day I was asking myself, why does 2060 work well? Okay. And it was actually in a meditation. Actually, I remember it to the moment. That's the cool thing about meditation. You can train your mind to remember things. So anyways, I was sitting in the shower, and I said, I wonder if it works really well because of Fibonacci. So I changed it to 2155. Thank you for subscribing. Okay. So I changed it, and it worked just fine. It didn't work better, it just worked fine. So I just left it there, right? And I use 5A crosses and all that kind of stuff, right? And if I were to continue the theme, the 200 should be at 233, right? And then for a while, on the 1 minute chart, I tried trading the 366 1 minute stuff. So I tried a lot of things. But anyway, so I had market identified, and then I started to line up price. So consider it like training wheels. To the person who asked the question, why do I use moving averages? Kind of use them like training wheels. So I would say, I do my analysis and I'd say, okay, the market on this time frame is bearish, so I want to be a bear based on this. So now I'm going to trade, I'm going to short every 5-8 cross down, and I'm going to take profit on every 5-8 cross up. Then I'm going to short every 5-8 cross down. Then I'm going to take profit on every 5-8 cross up. So I short, take profit, short, take profit. And that was my first year or two of trading. Okay. And then the thing that became an interesting question to me after I got really good at that was, as you can see, I had lots of difficulty predicting the reversal or the retracement. What was the definition, of a reversal versus a retracement, right? And I asked myself all of that, and it took me a very long time, maybe another 2 years, before I stumbled across pivot points. And there was actually some guy selling a course on pivot points. So I bought a copy, and he said, if it's working, keep doing it. And if it stops working, pivot points are like an airplane. So if they're not working, just turn your plane upside down and flying upside down. But then I'm like, well, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard, because by the time you turn your plane upside down, you've already lost a whole bunch of money, right? Wow, what a scumbag. Chevin, or whatever your name is. Go be poor somewhere else, but Bubba Pivots. Anyways, go to channel report. I'm just gonna remove you. Now I'm gonna report you. Disappear. Let's see, unwanted commercial content or spam. All right, goodbye, dude. By the way, if anyone says they have a 90% accuracy rate like that spammer just did, if you were a professional investor, you wouldn't stop laughing for, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. Like, to think someone is so dumb to say, hey, why don't you give me a whole bunch of money? My track record shows that I don't know how to take a loss. I mean, like, really? The first thing you want to do is sit down. It's like, let's look at your losses. How do you handle yourself in situations where things go wrong or you're actually wrong, right? Like, it's so, what a dumb thing for somebody to say, hi, I have 90% accuracy rate. You should invest with me. A professional investor would just find that so retarded, right? It's like, what an idiot. So, but he must be poor and desperate, so he'll say anything to get your money, I suppose. Right? Like, what do I say in my book? Take pride in your losses. The first thing you should do with the potential investors, let's sit down and talk about all the ways I can lose money. In fact, let's bring this up. Here's one right here. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, you think he was a hedge fund manager? Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, we should call it. Anyways, that's just funny. It's just funny. So where were we? Now he stole from us. Our alpha. He stole from us, this guy, because now I've lost my train of thought. 2155. So I think I answered that. Somebody asked me, why do I use moving averages? So I think I gave an intelligent response there. Speaking about intelligence, I have to do schoolwork today. School has started. I still have the textbook of my last class on my desk, and I have to start new stuff. I have 2 new classes starting today. Oh. But at least I'll learn quantitative analysis methods, be an expert in that. And the other one is microeconomics. Hate microeconomics. Marginal unit cost. Who cares? So anyways, so looking at this, if you wanted to be a bear on oil, it's not that you should trade this. You should look for a rollover and either take a small shot here, because really what you want is this, something like that, or treat this rangy, which you should expect this, but at some point, if you're a bear, you are expecting that. Now, what's interesting, bulls want this too. So that's why it may be a very real possibility, either Friday or Monday, because a bull wants to buy it down in that yellow zone. Well, that's 1/3 of my book. I don't even have a copy of my book anymore. I can't find it. I have so many books that they're all school books. Hang on. I know I have a copy somewhere around here. I don't know where it is. But 1/3 of my book is dedicated to journaling. So that's how much I believe in it. But the thing is, most people, and that's why I wrote so much about it, most people, well, almost nobody journals, right? But then of those who journal, they've been given the advice that they should journal, but no one has taught them how to journal, and they don't do it right, and it doesn't end up being helpful. Oh my God, this guy's spamming us again. Yes, 90% accuracy. Call me once, please readjust again. Wow. All right, so I have to hide this guy. Hang on, this guy's spamming us again. All right. This must suck to be so poor, right? Anyways, I had this guy logged into somebody else. So anyways, so bulls want to buy down here. So like that allows you to sell here if you're a little more bearish, but you probably only want to target this anyways. And bulls would like to buy it, so like but bulls don't really want it to come down, I guess is the better way of saying it. Bulls don't really want it to come down, but they'll buy it there. What they really want is to buy it here, right? So that's all. So today's news will have to be good, right? Like oil inventories, the news at 8:30, which is 8:01 now. So a lot of things have to go right, but can go right, and then we'll spike oil to the upside. Okay. Hey, Mickey, did you ever read that book? I've listened to him speak. I was at a Forex conference back when I used to do that, and he was one of the speakers. And then it was right about the time he moved to Singapore. Oh, Adventure Capitalist. That's a book. Jim Rogers wrote the book. He has a very interesting story. So he used to work with George Soros. right? So I worked with George Soros. Not really. I can't actually tell you. I sat on a board with George Soros. So that's how Jim Rogers kind of captured my attention, right? So I did a little look into him. So he worked for George Soros at, I think it was Quantum Fund. He made billions of dollars, but he was kind of bored with what he was doing. So anyways, he quit that job and decided to, it was really funny. He bought one of those small Mercedes sports cars, the little two-door ones. They look like little skateboards. They're so small. Not SL. I guess it's an SL. No, the smaller one. Anyways, right? He bought one of these. He had it pulled apart and turned into a 4x4. I can't do this now. I have an electrician coming over. So anyways, he pulled it apart, turned it into a 4x4 truck, but he wanted to drive around in luxury. So that's what money will do for you, right? And then he had a custom-made trailer made to match the car exactly, same colors and all that kind of stuff. And then he got a beautiful girl. He ended up marrying her, I believe. But he got a beautiful blonde and popped her in the passenger seat. And they drove around the entire world. Okay? Through Africa, through the best parts of Africa, the most dangerous parts of Africa. He got permission from the Chinese government to drive across China, but this is before it opened up. So it was still closed, China. He drove through the Soviet Union, but, so this is, I think, in the 90s when he made this move. And so he literally drove across the world. It took him like 2 years or 3 years. And, this guy's got lots of money, right? So, like, when he drove into Botswana, he went met with the guy that ran the stock exchange and stuff and saw how amazing it was. Just immediately threw in like tens of millions of dollars into that country's stock market and stuff. And but he learned about commodities, like where rubber comes from and where coffee comes from, and like literally like been there, done that, talked to the guys that dug it out of the ground, got to know like where all the scams were, got to know where the trustworthy people were, all that kind of stuff. And then he wrote a book about it called Adventure Capitalist. But it's how he learned about commodities. So he came back to the United States convinced that China was going to take over the world and that Russia was going to collapse, the Soviet Union was going to collapse. So he shorted the Soviet Union, made billions, which is not, I guess, is good. He already had billions, but so he made billions more. And then he took all that money and drove it into China. And then, of course, everything took off and he was well invested in China. So then once he made all those billions, he took all that and put it into things like gold and oil. And then gold and oil went from $60 a barrel to 200, and gold went from 600 to 2,000. And then he retired. His latest book, he's like 70-something years old, and his 30-year-old wife has had a couple of daughters. And he's like, look, I've never wanted to have kids in my life, but here I am 70 and I've done everything else. So, and he loved the woman. So he had kids, but he's like, look, I'm not going to be around to be the dad I would like to be. So he wrote a book to his 2 baby daughters on the principles of life and the skills they will need to succeed. Things like to be able to do basic math in your head quickly, so that you can look up at a spreadsheet that all these smart people are presenting in the boardroom. You look at it and go, well, that's wrong. Boom. Smartest person in the room. So Jim Rogers sold everything and moved to Singapore. Yeah. So I bumped into him about them. So my 6 degrees is, I sat on the board with Soros, his old boss, and then I saw him at a conference. So I don't know if that counts as 6 degrees, but anyways, that book, Mickey. So if you guys are interested in, I actually haven't read the book, but if you're interested in like how, commodities, and I guess you wouldn't think Jim Rogers now, you'd think about the other idiot, what's his name, the hedge fund guy that's getting all the publicity now because he's doing PR, the Bridgewater guy Guy sounds like a psychopath maniac, but he's a billionaire, so now everybody loves him. Yeah, Ray Dalio. I saw him on CNBC one time as a guest, and the guy like couldn't help swearing. He came across like a thug, and now he's made. They couldn't even put him on TV. And he just didn't mean to. He was trying to be polite, and he'd still F-bomb on TV. So now that he's retiring and stuff, now it's about how sage he is and all that kind of stuff. Right? All right. Check this out. Microphone check 1. There's our target we talked about yesterday and the day before and the day before that. And when we were down here, we said stay in the range forever until it breaks. Then if it does break, buy the pullback, which it did, and the target is here, which it now has done. And look at the accuracy of the target, guys. Look at the accuracy. I'm trying to get this down to a 1 minute. Look at the accuracy. What? Get the out of here, huh? And then the scalp. So, of course, if you're still scalping, you would do this, but be careful of the bounce off the bottom, because that's a buy zone for somebody. But anyways, killer, right? So Ray Dalio, he's interesting because when he was a young man, he'd go out to the farms and talk to farmers. And all the idiots, on the trading floor, either in Chicago or New York, just, they had their $1,000 suits on trading grain, but they never were on a grain farm, right? So I grew up in Saskatchewan. I know a few things about a few things. But it was amazing to think that commodity traders trading billions of dollars worth of wheat and corn probably couldn't tell the difference between wheat and corn. But they traded it, right? So anyways, he'd go out to the farmer and he'd talk to them, have long talks with just like out in the fields with these guys. And they would talk about, oh, well, this is becoming a problem, and fertilizer prices are going up, and this really eats into my margin, so I'm thinking about maybe planting something that needs less fertilizer next year. And he's like, oh, really? So he's taking all these notes, talking to all these farmers, going through the decision-making process, and guess what? He'd say, oh, well, in situations where fertilizer prices are going up, probably because of oil prices are going to go up. And of course, this is before ethanol and all that kind of stuff. If he would say something like, if fertilizer prices went up by 20%, there'd be 30% less corn planted next year and 30% more wheat planted next year, because wheat needs half as much fertilizer as corn. So now he would be able to say, all right, he can short next year's corn futures. No, he would buy next year's corn futures and short next year's wheat futures because of the fertilizer prices, less will be planted, but of course nobody else knows this yet, and then less will be harvested in yield, so less means prices are going to go up, and currently, right? So you could buy that, and then there'd be more wheat, so next year there'd be higher yields and higher quantities of wheat, so there'd be too much of that, and prices would go down, and all that kind of stuff. You see what I mean? Thank you, 8. So anyways, so the Ray Dalio's new kind of, but to me, all of that is common sense, right? So that's stuff you should know. Well, that's right. Freddie, but remember, none of that really replaces common sense either, right? But that's been going on for quite some time now. But yeah, most of the old satellites have been purchased now by hedge funds or rented by hedge funds. The Soviets do that a lot, or the Soviets, well, they're old Soviet satellites. But that, see, all that alpha's gone. Back in the early 90s, there were some hedge funds in the United States renting old Soviet era satellites, and they would fly over the Ukraine because they wanted to look like they could get the data from Canada, they can get the data from the United States, right? So they can get an idea in September how what the yield would likely be like, you know, from the United States and Canada. But what they couldn't get was accurate data from places like, you know, the Ukraine. So they would rent the spy satellites and would fly over the Ukraine, and they're like, oh, and they would try to guess the yield of what was going on there. But most hedge funds didn't have access to the satellite, right? So they would have less information. But now everyone just Google Earths it, right? Well, I don't know if that's that accurate, but anyways, the data is more available, and the alpha has been sucked out of that. So, all right, so we did this one, we've done the corners, EuroCAD, nothing going on. I'm going to clear this out. Okay, it's not that what's there is inaccurate. It's that the market has changed. Okay, so the trade plan initially was, you know, sell this pullback here, right? Like something like this off of this roll reversal. And then it was partially right, except it consolidated. Okay. So in this situation now, the propensity for this to break to the upside is significantly greater than when we were here. So you can't take this old trade plan. Like when I say be patient and disciplined, I don't mean, you know, ignorant and defiant. If the trade plan has failed, and the trade plan was this, well, we didn't say drop and consolidate. So if it's consolidating, your trade plan has failed, reanalyze, right? You probably made money, and you certainly didn't lose money. But now, like, does it go the other way? So you ask yourself, well, you need something good for euro, or you need something bad for CAD, like falling oil prices. And you'd have to go back and say, well, do you see oil at resistance and all that kind of stuff? Is CAD going to weaken? And you might say, well, no. So therefore, for this to go up, euro would have to be stronger than a fairly strong CAD. So what would make that super strong? And you'd have to do your analysis. And you might say, well, you still don't see it. Well, then it could just be this is your next trade plan. Well, good. Set that up. Okay. And EuroCAD. And then this is Kiwi Yen. Let's just go to the yens. We'll do all the yens at once. From Malaysia. Whoop, whoop. All right. Let's do Euro Yen. I don't think anything's really changed from yesterday. Okay. I got to get rid of my roll reversal here because it's blocking. Where is it? Here, I guess. All right. I guess I can just kill it. No, I'll leave it there. All right. So we got to go into a smaller time frame. I bought it here. Low, 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 low. And it hasn't done much since. It's just kind of working its way up. But that's fine because we're waiting for the news, and that makes sense. I think this isn't a euro play, by the way. It's a yen play. But I was thinking, you know, China and the United States are getting together today to just discuss their trade deals. So a rumor of progress would really benefit me on the yen side today. Also at 8:30, good news, whatever that means, good macro news would probably help this as well. So we'll see. So, but nothing's really changed in the trade plan. Okay, and can you see my target? Right? Up, down, up, boom, boom, boom. So we'll see how that goes. ADP better than expected. Great. Yep. Nice. Take a look at pound. Okay. Pound. So I think my stop is here and I've moved it here because I bought it here and it started to go up and then it collapsed on me on, I guess it was the election stuff. But anyways, or the vote stuff. So we'll see if it recovers and gets back above. But if it drops back down to here, I'm going to take a walk. I might move it just slightly lower. It's only, so I'm risking, I can't see what that is. 85 pips? No, 45 pips. I don't know. I can't see it. But anyways, so we'll see. What I'm hoping for, I shouldn't say hope, but what it looks like to me is that there's pretty decent potential that this heads up like this. Okay? That's what this is all about here. So as long as it's above its declared double bottom, I should be all right. I have a weekly pivot and a monthly pivot protecting my stop. So we'll see if it climbs up. If it doesn't, I'll probably take a walk. Okay. This is Ozzy Yen. Okay. I bought it here, right? Simple dottable bottom, higher high, roll reversal. Pretty simple trade. I've moved my stop now to here. My entry's here. So this is the first challenge I've had on this trade. You can see it goes back to here. So I'm going to need some decent news to bust me up to the upside here. Okay. So my decision is, do I leave my stop here or do I move it to BE? I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet. Travis just ordered just came in the mail. Right on. If I wasn't in school, I'd write another book. Excuse me. I guess 11 years has passed, right? But that is the story of what I went through. So here I am. Here's the bottom. Here's the top. Here's my entry. I'm in long right here, as you can see. La 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 la. My stops here. La 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 la. So we'll see. It's just farting around doing nothing. Okay. It's not bullish. It's not bearish. So we'll see. It'll become interesting as it works its way into the apex. As you probably know, if it breaks out before the apex, it's probably a fake out. Also, if it does break out in the apex, generally what you do is you take the distance from here to here. Okay? So you would do this to, let's do it that way. And you'd move it over. I guess I got to go to hourly. And it still just gets us to the top, but anyways. So it's just farting around. My stop's fine. It's actually fairly conservative. So it's doing fine. We're just waiting for the news. And CAD yen. Oh, CAD yen. Oh, this is the one I messed up on. So I apologize for this. I bought it here and I moved my stop to break even. Too early, I guess. I don't know where. I don't know why. I don't know why. I made a mistake. Maybe I was long here and I moved it to break. I don't know. I messed that one up, so I apologize. I think I was long here, 82 and a half. I don't know why. I don't know. I messed up. I moved my stop. I don't know why. I don't even see why. Well, paid the penalty. Sucks, man. I don't know why I moved my stop. Maybe the top? Maybe the top. Okay. Yeah, I can't be too hard on myself. I probably said, ugh. So, anyways, I was long here. And my stop would have been, well, at least here. I mean, so I don't know why I moved my stop. My stop should be here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I moved my stop. So euro. So anyways. I don't know anything about TradingView, Travis. I like MT4, and I used to like the deal book, but like TradingView, I don't know. I don't know why you'd need it or want it. All right. Yeah, I guess that's that. We'll go back to the news scan. Wow, we're getting spammed by another idiot. Arba FX? How could you be so lame? Trade for other people. You know, that's even illegal for you to solicit without a license. You must be impoverished in some impoverished nation and you're desperate. So I feel bad for that. But you're banned from the channel? Go spam somebody else, bro. Must be terrible. A lot of desperate people today, huh? BM, there is a book by Bernard Baumhall. And it's called, I don't know where all my Forex books. I had a few technical books. I don't know where anything is anymore because this office is fairly new. Although I've probably been here a year now. Bernard Baumhall wrote a book called something like economic indicators. It's all about economic indicators, what CPI is, what PC is, and all that kind of stuff. But it sounds really dry and boring. But the opening preface, I guess it is very, very interesting. And it has to do with how non-farm payrolls numbers are released. So whoever BM has given you this idea, like there's information that the NFB has been leaked. No, the answer is no. So whoever is giving you that information is not on the glue train. So the better way of doing it is just do your own analysis. you know, so turn that channel off, whatever you're hearing, turn that off. It's not going to make you a better trader. But if you're interested in an interesting book, yeah, Bernard Baumhol. I don't have it. I think it should be up here, but yeah, I think I have it in the closet, but it's way up high in a box. I can't find it. But you can you know, I don't know, try Amazon.com. Secrets of Economic Indicators, yeah. That sounds like a newer version, but yeah. So remember, news is coming out. Trading's risky, not appropriate for everyone. Stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term. Oops. Bernard Baumhol, yeah. Just think bumhole. You'll never forget. You are not alone. So lots of news coming out, guys. Lots of news, as I covered on Monday. You should already know. Then we'll do, yes, let's do peso at the end, okay? Don't let me forget. But with all the dollar news, especially with the Fed this afternoon, the dollar is going to overwhelm the peso. So just be very careful on peso today. Starting off with some dollar strength. Manoj, I'm from the dark side of the moon. The news feed is slow today, huh? Red candle on WTI. Really surprised the news feed is this slow. Okay. Oil going up, dollar coming down on the minute chart. So I wouldn't make a big deal of it yet, but that's what I want. That's good for me. So it looks like resumption. Looks like resumption of trend. That's very good. Very happy. I'm going to go back to the yen pairs. Up. Pound not getting it though, huh? Pound still getting pummeled. Look at this CAD, man. Look at that CAD. That's the one I got knocked out at break even on. Son of a stupid. I paid the penalty. I don't know why I moved my stop. Cool. Got to do peso. Okay. So what we talked about is we need this to go higher. There's plan A and sort of plan B is the other end. Okay. Plan B is a little too high. So this is really plan A. Yeah, Brooks says Brooks expecting the dollar to strengthen this whole year. He's a dollar bull until Q3, which is really cool. That makes sense to me in the sense that the stock market's not likely to go up significantly, so it's going to catch a lot of people if it goes sideways, which means if you're basically long dollar every time you get a retracement in the stock market, that's good. And then you say until the third quarter, which means you get your year-end rally. Yeah, that makes sense to me. You end up being short on the times it comes down, but it'll probably come back up and then come back down, come back up. And then the last thing to comment on that, most people, like 90% of the stock market, makes money when the stock market goes up. So it's going to want to always recover. Every time it drops, it means someone else can come in and buy at the lower price, because that's how a professional trader and institution trades. They say they'll say something like, "I want to buy Apple, but not today or tomorrow," or they don't use technical analysis, right? So they say the next time the S&P 500 drops by 10%, buy some Apple. That's kind of how they think and plan. So they keep some powder dry for all that. And so every time the market drops, someone else comes in and buys it. Because someone else is taking profit, drops the market, and it's another opportunity for someone to buy that based on their fundamental plans. Remember, stocks are supposed to be fundamentally traded, not technically. Wow, I got spammed again. Holy smokes. Online moneymaker, goodbye. Wow. Wow, gee whiz. I'm protecting you guys. Got another spammer. He just wants you to fill out forms and pay you money. Huh. Like, why doesn't he just start his own YouTube channel about filling out forms and making money? Why does he have to bother us? Anyways, so there's one idea if you're against what I'm talking about. But if you know the peso remittance trade, what we're thinking is that. But remember, the Fed is going to kill any normal move on this. Okay? And then we have FOMC. So it'd be interesting, though, if we work our way up here for FOMC and then we take it down at Chinatown. Boom, boom, boom. So that would have to indicate a bad, going back to BM, I think it was, a bad NFP. But, would maybe do that. But even then, maybe it strengthens. So maybe. See, the thing is, if you get a hot NFP, it tells the Fed, even though they want to remove their, they want more flexibility, right? So they don't want to be data dependent anymore. But if it's really hot, it kind of puts on a June rate hike. Okay, and that's bad for like emerging markets, and that's bad for the stock market and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of get a reversal of trends because we're at a different spot in the business cycle. But if it comes out cold, a miss, if it comes out not bad, but less than expected, it tells the Fed they don't raise interest rates further. And that's good for macroeconomics. And so raising it, so we want cold, basically. So if a 200,000 NFP would probably be really good for this remittance trade. Oh, yeah. Yeah, has everyone done the little thumbs up on the YouTube thing? I'd appreciate that. Oh, someone thumb down? Yeah. Huh. Well, I'm sorry if this was a terrible waste of your time. And I was thinking about yesterday, too. Somebody said I came across condescending. And I really don't mean it that way, but I know that I can do that. I think in my mind, if I'm being condescending, I'm not talking to you, because you have to realize I don't see you. You're not in the room with me, like you're right. So sometimes I'll say things, if it comes across condescending, I'm saying it out to the world, but not to us. And it's hard to maybe see that on camera because I don't mean you, I mean everybody else, but everybody else is almost as real, right? Because I don't see everybody else, nor actually do I see you. But I don't mean you, because our community is special and unique in the sense that you come here every day and you try your best to improve. So if I'm not being condescending to you, I'm being condescending to the other trader on the other side of your trade, so to speak. Hey, Vladdy. So there's that trade, but I don't think I'm going to be brave enough for a peso trade unless today's news kind of works out for that setup. So really, we'll have to leave it to that. Wayne, wait. Wayne, you said if you're above the pivot point, look for reasons to buy, but if you're at M3, no, Jim. Jim, have you taken the swing trading course? I don't think you have. So you're a little confused on the technique. Well, it's okay to apologize, I guess, as a boo. I just want to make sure everybody knows. I know lots of people know, but maybe not everybody. Right, Freddie. So, Jim Goth, all I can say is, take the swing trading course. Oh, you have? No, like the central pivot. See, you have to remind yourself the pivots don't tell you what to do. They're only prices on a chart based on what happened in the previous period. So you need to decide whether you're a bull or a bear based on long-term technical analysis or fundamental analysis, or you flip a coin. And the quickest your bias should change is maybe every 3 months, but probably closer to every 6 months. Or like Brooke says, Brooke, long the dollar until the third quarter. Yeah, see, like that. There you go. That's how you do it, right? Thank you for subscribing, by the way. So you have to then engineer your trades. So it's not that you buy at a central. No, not really. So the key numbers are M2, M3. Then you can consider a buy or a sell at the central based on your market conditions and your level, your aggressiveness for your bias, and how much your bias matches current market conditions, based on the pattern, based on a bunch of other things. But the central pivot point does not tell me a dang thing. It's not that important. It's barely relevant. Okay? So I never say something like, oh, look at the central pivot, sell it. No. If I'm a bear, I have a zone. The zone gives me a plan A or a plan B, or just a plan A, and then you throw down a wide, a stop that covers, right? So if you bought it at the central and your stop is just below S1, you're good to go, and it should that encapsulates your ability to get the S2 or the M2 if it goes down there, and then it should go back up if you're right. Okay? So let's go back to like one of my yen trades, because those are just swing trades. They're just stuff we do every week, right? Well, euro was a little more rangy. Aussie's a good one, right? So we got Aussie, and I'm hoping I had to have a decent trade plan. So the market opened here. Oh yeah, so I longed it here, right? So you can see what I did. On Monday morning, or not Monday morning, on Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m., the market opened. We were here, and I put an entry, and I said buy it here, and then my stop would have been below here. So sure enough, I wake up, and I'm in a trade, and after a while it comes up, and then I move my stop from here to here. Okay. The reason I bought it here is not because of the central pivot. The reason is that this is my buy zone. Anywhere in there is valid for me. And anything below that, and so I protect myself by putting my stop below the S1, right? So anything below that, I by definition, I'm wrong. But if I was manually trading it, I would look for a reversal here. And if I got that, that's fine as well. And then these are also potential entries. But it's not the central pivot, it's my bias. Because if you don't have a bias, then how do you know, and I think this is what you're asking, how do I know whether I should be buying or selling here? Well, first of all, if you're above price and it comes down to the pivot point, you don't sell. So you sell in downtrends. So by having a higher high, it's not a downtrend. If I was a bear, let's say, and we opened here or here, I would sell, but not because I'm at the central, because once again, the central doesn't tell me to buy or sell. My bias tells me to buy or sell. If we opened here and I was a bear and it rose up to the central, I would sell there and put my stop above the R1. Does that make sense? Okay, it's the bias first and foremost. You can't do anything without a bias. Okay, that's Jim Goth. Okay, Jim? So I highly recommend people take the swing trading course and the day trading course and to go through a performance analysis with your coach. Can you imagine having a one-on-one coach? And then working with me every week doing swing trades. So I can answer those questions as we're setting up the trade, because the swing trading group sets up all their trades in advance. So we talk about things, our biases, and how maybe this week has, some trickiness to it, or some confidence to it, or lacking confidence to it, and how to manage all this. So I highly recommend you guys do that. The live day trading group meets twice a day. The swing trading group meets once a week. Everyone's setting up trades in advance. And to go through performance analysis or trader performance analysis, to have a coach work hand in hand with you specifically. I mean, there isn't anything better out there. So you guys should really consider fxbootcamp.com for that. Okay. And without further ado, I gotta go, yo. So thanks for hanging with me over this webinar. Be careful and enjoy the Fed meeting. And I will, I guess, bid you adieu. Say peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Please make sure you click the Forex.Today logo and become a subscriber. I appreciate your likes. I love your comments. Please leave comments. Even just let me know if I need to change my regular pairs, like, I need to add pound Aussie or something, let me know in the comments. I actually read your comments. And then if you don't know how to do that peso trade I set you up with, watch the video called How to Trade the Mexican Peso and Why It Works video on the YouTube channel. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average.